Hello everyone, welcome back. I got another video. I'm going to picked up a RTX 3080 Ti from Gigabyte. I got it at Best Buy, so finally one came in. I love the performance and I'm happy I got it. But I am going to be comparing it to the RTX 2080 Ti's and a couple of RTX 2080s just to show you the difference on performance. And is it well worth what you need? Can you get by with a regular RTX 2080, 2060, GTX 1080 Ti? It just depends on what you're using the computer for. If you're just streaming, you can even use the onboard graphics, so you don't need a graphics card. But if you want to do gaming, you need a good graphics card. So I'm going to show you some benchmarks that I've run. Basically, the 2080 Ti's and the 3080 Ti, I've ran the 3D Mark. So I'll show you between those four computers how they ranked. And I go all the way from an X99 5930K to a 5900X, a 5930X, no, 59, no, a 3900X, a 3950X, and what was the other one? Oh yeah, a Threadripper 1950X to see how they perform. So the other benchmarks I'm going to show you where it's Heaven benchmark for the Valley benchmark 1 and the superposition benchmark, all in 1080p extreme, just to show you the difference in the speed. And you'll be quite surprised of the things that I found out about these benchmarks. So without further ado, let's take a look what some of these benchmarks I've used. So here is NX Studio. I want you to take a look at this picture. This is my computer that it's a AMD Ryzen 3600. It's not the X, but it has 64 gigs of RAM of DDR4 3200 megahertz, 14 CAS latency, and it has the MSI RTX 2080 on there, not the Ti, just the 2080. It looks good. It does everything you need to do. And I've used this to compete against the 5930K, which is Intel, on the X99 platform. But the nice thing about that one, that's an HEDC platform for creators. It has full 16-bit slots when you either crossfire it or else SLI it. So you get better performance on that. But the main reason I'm showing you this picture, this is a JPEG, and it's only 17.6 megabytes. But if I go all the way to the end to show you the raw file, this is 47, almost 48 megabytes. So I don't see the difference in the file. So I got the JPEG raw fine with this new Nikkor Z7 II, and I've used the new 24 millimeter f1.8s line Z lens to shoot all these pictures with. So I'm also showing off my last prime that I bought, which is under the $2,000 mark. This only cost me about $900, but still, I got all the primes of 1.8. I have the 28 millimeter f2.8 and the 40 millimeter F2. So anything around $1,000 I've bought just to save some money. So I haven't bought the top line, but the pictures are excellent. But this is just to show you there's no difference, and this is kind of like the intro of the computers I'm going to discuss. And that's, let me get back here. All right, so I'm going to here. So this is the picture we were looking at. Now I'm going to show you in the raw files. So this is using the 24 millimeter, and you can see my dog, Buddy, and then you can see right on the bed is Wanda. And if I do 100%, this is also showing you how Crystal, there he is. Yeah, let me bring it back down a little bit. Look at that. So I know it's not about computers, but when you get a dog like this and showing off some lenses, I think it's excellent. It's a little fuzzy. I might have not have it in sharp, but still, this is a 51 megabyte file, and I had to take it because this was before I took a picture of the computer. Anyway, there's Wanda, and you can see on the right, this is my 3950X with an RTX 2080 Ti with a 65-inch OLED monitor, or TV I should say. And with this, I'm showing you the 3D Mark, latest version, 13874. So with a RTX 2080 Ti, that's pretty good. And then of course there's another shot of the computer, and then Wanda sleeping. Now this one is the 3900X, so this is just a step below, but it's 17874. So if you compare the two, that's 17, and this is with the 3080 Ti. So you see it's 4,000 difference, basically, and the 3900X outperforms. It's not the processor, it's the graphics card. Just want to let you know that usually when you update your computer, memory, graphics card, and then processor. So usually you don't have to do the processor, just usually the graphics card. And on the memory, it's usually after the graphics card too. So back here, so that's the 3080 Ti. This, I believe, is the 5930K. Now, no, this is the 1950X. So this is a little bit slower, and the reason why is that it's only 3.5 gigahertz compared to like a 4.2 gigahertz on the 3900X or the 3950X. So speed does matter on the processor. It may have more cores and may be a better quality processor, but if it doesn't have the speed, then some of these benchmarks won't work unless you use Blender or 3D modeling and stuff like that. But it also depends on the graphics card. So this is just for gaming, and as you can see, this is not as good as for gaming. And then of course right here, let me scroll down a little bit more. I forgot to show you the 5930K, and I think Well, we'll get to it later. I'm sorry. A little bit out of sync. But this is Firestrike now. And as you can see, that's 32,597. This is on the 3080 Ti. This is on the 3950X, but it's a little bit slower. So if I do 2, just to show you the difference. So this is the 3950X. This is 3900X. The difference is the graphics card. So it's not much difference, but it's about 4,000. And if I go back to single, go here. So this is 22, and lo and behold, this is, I believe, the 1950X. No, it's a 5930K. So you can see it's a little bit slower. I'll go back to 1. And that's Firestrike. So it's quite a bit. That's 22. That's 28. That's 32. Now if I go to the Threadripper, this is night rate. And no, this is the 3900X, so this is still, I'm using a 3D Mark. So 51,358. And if I do it all 4, let's see what happens. Click here. Click there. Oh, wrong one. Well, I guess I only ran it on 2. Darn. Okay. So anyway, you can see there's not much difference on this one. Now this isn't intensive on graphics, but 3080 Ti beat out the 2080 Ti, but it wasn't by much. So now I put some extra computers in. So as you can see, this is with the RTX 2080, and this is with the 3600. So you'll notice that there's different tiers. So with the RTX 2080s, they're in the higher 100s. So that's the 3600. Now, this one is in the 200s, and it's the 3950X, but this is with the RTX 2080 Ti. So the Ti compared to the 2080, you can see about a 40-point difference, 30 to 40-point difference. And this, of course, is another RTX 2080. And this is with the 9700K. This is with the Threadripper. Now, this is a 2080 Ti, but I believe that the slot with the graphics card is really slow. I think it's a 3 instead of a 4. And it's really not that much percentage, but I always have to tell you, the speed of the processor makes all the difference in the world too. So you can have a good graphics card, but the bottleneck may be the speed of the processor. And of course, this is the 3080 Ti, the Jewel. But you can see how fast that is. That's almost 100% over a 2080. It's unreal. And then it's about 70 extra points over the 2080 Ti. Oh, and this is the one that I was going to show you. So a 3891 right here compared on, this is the 5930K, to this. You can see the difference. So the processor makes all the difference in the world. This right here is the 3900X, and this is the 3080 Ti. But if you look at the, no, that's night rate. So there's 50, that's a 2080 Ti. And you'll see that the processor makes all the difference in the world. So anyway, let's get back to benchmarking. 2080. In the 200s, it's a 2080 Ti. So if you figure, if it's in the 200s, it's a 2080 Ti's. If it's in the 100s, it's in the 2080s, except with the exception for the Threadripper 1950X. So this one is the 9900K. Now, somehow this was thwarted, and I don't know why this happened on this processor. So that's 128. Well, I guess it's so, because it's valid benchmark. It's a little bit harder. And as you can see, this is the 3600. So the 3600 did better than an i9 9900K. And that might be because the graphics card couldn't keep up with the processor. It was, I don't know. And it might be a slower graphics card, because I think I have a better one, the MSI, better than the EVGA one. And then of course this is the Threadripper, but this is a 2080 Ti. You can see the processor makes a difference too. And of course a little bit higher, but this is the 9700K with the 2080. This is now the 2080 Ti's, but this is a 3080 Ti, so it's scored 173, compared to just the 2080, which is 165. So the 2080 Ti and the 3080 Ti is not that much difference. Do you spend $400 more? It's up to you. And of course, here's another one, 147. This was dealing with the 5930K. So it was doing better than the Threadripper. Now, this is the benchmark I usually use on everything. So with the 3600, you got an average of 64, well, I should say 50 or 51. Okay, 1920 at the extreme with everything on. So this is the 3600. This is the i9 9900K. So you can see it switched a little bit, but still, this is a newer processor, and it's faster than the 5930K. And then this, of course, is 9700K, but it has half the threads. So you can see why the 9900K can beat the 9700K. And they all have RTX 2080s. Except for the, no, that's a 3600, right? So when you get an 8000, then the 2080 Ti's perform well. So here's the Threadripper. This is now performing like it should. And it might be the software too. And then of course this is outdoing the 3950X. This is the benchmark I usually use for 3D graphics. You saw the linear on the 3D marks on the different programs, but I think the benchmark of this outperforms better than all of them combined. And I usually use this to rate the graphics card and processor. So that's 8595, and it has an average of 64 compared to on this one, which is about 55. So that's 64. And here's another one. And this is averaging about 65 also. But this is the 5930K. Outdated processor, according to Microsoft, but it did excellent with the 2080 Ti. And of course, here's a picture of the 5930K keyboard. I got a 2560 by 1440 165 hertz refresh monitor from Ace. No, this is from Dell. And then this is the shot of the computer. 2080 Ti. It's a DDR4 2800 megahertz on the RAM, 32 gigabytes, all 8 slots filled up, but it works great with this motherboard. And I have it in a Corsair 570X. I have an extra hub inside for extra USB ports to hook up extra fans and stuff like that. But it performed well. Now, on the 5930K, you can see why Microsoft doesn't want to deal with it. It doesn't support secure boot. The motherboard manufacturer has not updated the BIOS on the X999 on the Gigabyte Gaming 5 motherboard in a couple of years. It doesn't have TPM2, and the processor is not supported for Windows 11. Well, I can disagree with all that, but I can put in a TPM2 card, and it's just, what I'm hearing now is you don't really have to have secure boot to install Windows 11. And then this is the bottom part. It has 32 gigs of RAM. It has more than 64 gigabytes of storage. It does have a 6-core, 12-thread processor, and the clock speed is 3.5 gigahertz. So it's still a pretty good processor, and it's ranked just a little bit behind the 3600. And if you look at this, this is the 3900 with the 3080 Ti. So I really scored high, 12,321, which is excellent. And of course, this is my setup for the Threadripper 1950X. So these are both 4K scenes. I'm sorry, 4K monitors. One is with the landscape portrait, which is a 27-inch LG. And the other one is a Dell monitor, 24-inch. But it's a 4K monitor in portrait mode. And then this is the 1950X. So this is the RTX 2080 Ti. It's in an NWin 909 PC case. And I have the Thermaltake Ring LED case fans. And the 3 right here is with the 360 millimeter rad. So it's running at 3700 megahertz, 16 core, 32 thread. Excellent. But it is showing its age. And this is the front of it. Now this is a 4K monitor above the 2 other monitors with the hooked up to the 1950X. I can use that 40-inch 4K monitor with the Threadripper, or with this computer, which is out of focus, is the 9700K. And it has an RTX 2080, but I just stream on that. This is, I'm thinking of upgrading the 3900X to 5950X, and it has my baby now, the 3080 Ti, which is out of focus. So I guess it was focusing on the monitor. And then of course this is a close-up of the card, 3080 Ti. streamlined. It's not heavy, and I didn't have to worry about any sagging on the PCI slot. So it's excellent. And then of course this is the 3950X with the 65K inch monitor. And that's with an RTX 2080 Ti. It has 32 gigs of RAM, but it has 3600 megahertz of DDR4 memory. So it's 1-in-1 setting with the processor, same as the 3900X. And this is a close-up. So you can see it's an Asus 570 main board. It's the TUF. And let's see, and this is the i9 9900K. This has 64 gigs RAM. The Corsair Vengeance. I forget the name, but you can tell the difference between the different modules. And it has a 4K monitor on it. But this is an excellent computer. This is a close-up shot, which is out of focus. This is the 3600, and as you can see, I got the 64 gigs RAM in here also, hooked up to a 55-inch OLED TV. And then here's a close-up. Notice that the colors match, so I got the thermal take, I think the plus fans, case fans, the AMD CPU cooler, the what is it? The G-Skill memory at 14 cast latency, and then I have the MSI RTX 2080 to it. So all the color scheme matches, and I love it. I'm thinking of upgrading this to 3900X. This is on a B460 motherboard, which is a business class, and it's an excellent motherboard by Asus. No thrills, it just gets the work done. And as I showed before, this is where I ended it. So this is a raw file that's at 48 megabytes compared to the 21 in the JPEG. So that finishes the slideshow, or what I'm talking about. I'll go back to eCam, go back to camera. There I am. I'll go back to here. So what do you think? Is it well worth it to get a 3080 Ti? Is it, what do you think about Microsoft saying what processors to use? I disagree. I think that, there we go, let's get that centered right here. Put my hair, sorry about that. But I think it's well worth it. On my next video, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be, what I've been saying, which I've been putting off for a while. It's the long range lenses. And if you can see, on the, I'm also going to compare the Z7 II with the Z50. And the Z50 has the kit lens, 50 to 250, but it also has one lens for them all, which is the, I believe it's the, what is it, the 16, no, let me take a look at it. No, it's the 18 to 140 millimeter. And then, of course, there's the 24 to 200. And then with the 20 millimeter, which I'm also going to do another video on, right here, hooked up to the Z7 II. So this is the, right here is the Z50, And right up here, if I scroll this up and move this up here, you can just see the very bottom of the 20 millimeter on the Z7 II. So I'm looking forward to that. I love that camera. And I should say the 24 millimeter lens, because that's where I shot all these pictures on. And of course, the ZFC is looking at my PC setup, which I'll be showing some views on. And with the Ryzen 1950X, which will upgrade to the 2950X, so it can be compatible with Windows 11. And then, of course, back here to the Z5. I had a choice. I went with the graphics card, the 3080 Ti, compared to, let's say, the Mac Studio, the M1 Max. And I would have got the basic, but then I thought, I'm doing everything on the Mac Mini 2018. I'm upgraded to the 64 gigs RAM. It's an i5 8400 Intel processor, but and it only has 256 gigs of storage. But I have an external 4 terabyte hard drive, the G drive, connected to it. I have a Blu-ray DVD player to it, and this 6-core machine is outperforming my iMac 2017 4-core machine with only 4 cores, 8 threads. So figure that. I think the Mac Mini is still performing well. The reason why I haven't gone to the M1 Max yet is less ports. So I'm waiting for the M2 to decide the upgrade. I was looking at the iMacs, the 24-inch, but they're having some issues with the sound and a couple of other things. And I like the glossy screen more than the matte. I'm using an LG Ultrafine right now, and it's I like it because it's not as dim and the colors pop. And I'm going to show you on the Sony a6100. This is part of the setup. So this is an interview. This is showing where the Z6 II is with the 40 millimeter f2 lens. So you can see where I can interview people, and I just moved that person to the right. So I said, oh, let's interview this people. Get the 3900X or the 5950X, which will come with the 3080 Ti. Or I can go and show the 4K monitor, you know, with the hooked up to the 9700K. Or what I can also do is, get back over here. So I have the 2 monitors plus, if I go here, I can show the 4K too. And if I go to a widescreen, I think that's right there. Okay, so you can see the whole setup. I can interview people just like this. I just get out, talk to people, and I just move the microphone out a little bit so you can still hear me. But so I have it kind of like my room in halves. So I have a desk right in the middle, and it has a printer, 2 computers. I have 2 monitors on the roll-top desk. I got a 4K on the wall. And if you go to over here on this side, oh, no, you can't see it. It's already it. But you'll see the 1340 by 1440 100 hertz Predator monitor I have with my 3900X. And then if I go to Z62. Yeah, I don't know if I can. Nope, it's cut off right there. So, but anyway, but I could go to the ZFC. Okay, so now you can see the monitor. And then if I go on to zoom, which is usually my puppet cam, yeah, the way it's positioned, you can't see the whole thing. Oh well. Yeah, that's the webcam, 1080 webcam that I can use on the PC, which I'll try out. But anyway, I've talked long enough. Just want to show you that I have different PCs that I've tested. All of them work pretty good. Some are now getting outdated. You can also see why I don't like getting rid of older computers. I still use them now and then. And it just depends on the mood. And I also think the reason why they last so long is I'll turn on one computer one day and then go next week and I'll turn it on again. So I use different computers all the time. And it just depends where I am. I have it in different rooms. So I guess you can call me a hoarder. But as you can see, I think this is my favorite hobby, is computers. But I'm also getting into camera gear, and I'm showing off the different lenses. So anyway, enough of me talking about this stuff. Hope you enjoy the video. I should have live streamed it, and it would have been perfect for a live stream, but I don't know if many people would view it. Anyway, I could answer your questions, and then I can show you different things. But if you like this video, please give me a like, subscribe. It helps the channel. Please write a comment if you have any suggestions that you would like to see. Just want to wish you a happy Easter. And as always, little frog in my throat, sorry. Stay safe, keep smiling, and until next time, goodbye.